Welcome to Hannity, and tonight a big promotion for the man that you see in this iconic photo shielding Donald Trump at that fateful rally in Butler, Pennsylvania. Sean Curran is now the director of the U.S. Secret Service. He will join us for his very first cable interview tonight. But first, a brand new low for the media mob. What a shocker. Fake Jake, our old friend Tapper over at CNN, Fake News, is now publishing a new book about Joe Biden's steep cognitive decline and the cover-up that ensued. I do hope that Fake Jake remembered to write a chapter on himself. Take a look.
You have
no this
is so amazing. It's so amazing to me that
try and figure out an answer.
A cognitive decline.
Well, when you're trying to tell me that what I was suggesting was
I think that you were mocking his stutter. Yeah, I think you were mocking his stutter.
No, she wasn't mocking his stutter. We were playing it before the 2020 election. We have that full exchange coming up. But let's be clear, this book is coming out well after Biden's departure from the White House. So it's kind of meaningless until the Democratic Party, of course, gave the green light to throw Joe Biden overboard. Well, Jake, along with all of his friends at Fake News, CNN, MSDNC, and the state-run legacy media mob and every other outlet in the country, you know, they covered for Joe Biden and his cognitive decline, even though it was so obvious to anyone with eyes to see. The former president was mentally inept before the 2020 election. At one point, Biden went 11 straight months without holding a single cabinet meeting, not one. And when he did finally muster the energy to convene a meeting at the White House, he quickly turned the event over to Dr. Jill Biden, who was sitting at the head of the table. Just for memory's sake, take a look.
I guess it's still morning, isn't it? Yep. And so this cabinet meeting comes at a time when we have 4 months left in the administration. And we're going to keep running through the tape because the vice president and I are determined to keep making sure that the democracy delivers what the American people are asking for and what we provided. It means continuing to implement the historic laws we passed. They've allowed us to invest in America, rebuild our infrastructure, and implement our historic laws. So we're grateful that Jill is here today.
Just stop and look at that. Just look at that. He was president for 4 years. How did we ever allow that to happen? At the time, few in the media mob seemed to care. They pretended this was all perfectly normal. They didn't even bat an eye when Hunter Biden started showing up at White House meetings. They never covered Joe's lies about, I never once discussed the foreign business dealings with Hunter, my brother, or anybody for that matter. We have pictures that prove that false. The people that he gave preemptive pardons to eventually, the very same thing he said was wrong if Donald Trump ever did it. They never covered the lying about the border being secure and closed or the economy and inflation. Well, how times have changed. Now it is a 5-alarm fire in the legacy state-run media mob, all because Elon Musk, a special government employee in charge of DOGE, attended Donald Trump's first cabinet meeting. And by the way, what he said was dead on accurate. And that is, we cannot sustain ourselves as a country with the debt we are taking on. Musk isn't selling access to America's adversaries while smoking crack, committing gun crimes, and he isn't clout-chasing community college teacher masquerading and demanding to be called doctor. But Musk is the world's richest man with an unprecedented track record surrounding innovation, business, success, efficiency. So maybe the media mob should be crediting President Trump for bringing Elon into the fold to save the average American that only makes $66,000 a year from having to waste their money on radical leftism abroad to the tune of tens and what will be hundreds and hundreds of billions of dollars. You know, the vitriol is nonstop as President Trump, Elon Musk, the administration vilified for trying to be good stewards of your hard-earned money. Take a look.
We're spending over $1 trillion on interest. If this continues, the country will become de facto bankrupt. It's not an optional thing. It is an essential thing. That's the reason I'm here. And taking a lot of flack and getting a lot of death threats, by the way. I mean, I'd like to stack them up, you know. But if we don't do this, America will go bankrupt. That's why it has to be done.
De facto bankrupt. America will go bankrupt. We're robbing from our children and grandchildren. The so-called party of compassion, they obviously don't care. Today on Capitol Hill, more fun fear-mongering from elected Democrats. What a shock. Take a look.
Welcome to the Elon Musk Chainsaw Massacre, except for this remake of a classic is terrible because it's hurting real people, and its lead character, Mr. Musk, hasn't shown up in front of this committee or Congress at all.
He'd be wasting his time. You wouldn't understand it. Anyway, we're going to play the worst of the worst coming up. But while Democrats continue to whine and moan and complain, big things are happening at the White House every single minute of every day. Today, after his cabinet meeting, the president signed an executive order requiring government agencies to work with DOJ to justify spending, limit travel, identify federal properties that can be sold. And meanwhile, as the southern border becomes more and more secure, in record time, Trump is turning his attention to America's convoluted legal immigration system. His first move was the announcement of a brand new gold card, which will enable businesses, wealthy individuals, after they get vetted, to invest $5 million in the U.S. in exchange for a path to citizenship. By the way, this is something many countries around the world, they all have these programs in place. Places like Australia, New Zealand, other countries, a little cheaper. You want to live in the Caribbean somewhere, you can get a passport. You can buy one. The proceeds will be used to pay down the national debt. President Trump also negotiating a peace plan in Europe. And earlier this week, he successfully crafted a rare earth minerals deal with Ukraine. On Friday, President Zelensky will visit the White House to sign off on that deal. As Vice President J.D. Vance rightly pointed out, don't underestimate Trump's ability to get important things across the finish line. You know, maybe if the media and Democrats waited for some results, they won't sound so stupid all the time. Take a look.
As the president said, we're not going to do the negotiation in public with the American media. He's going to do it in private with the president of Russia, with the president of Ukraine, and with other leaders. And I think that's how this has to go. I think that I just want to push back against some of the criticism I've seen of the administration on this, because every single time the president engages in diplomacy, you guys preemptively accuse him of conceding to Russia. He hasn't conceded anything to anyone. He's doing the job of a diplomat, and he is, of course, the diplomat in chief.
Unlike the last president, Donald Trump is working around the clock, thinking outside the box. He's thinking differently. In other words, business as usual is over. That's a good thing. And he's keeping his promises. And he wants to improve the quality of life for all of you, every American. And even to top it off today, more meetings at the White House as Trump navigates a critical budget deal that will restore fiscal sanity to the Washington swamp. Just today, Secretary of State Marco Rubio announced, look at this, $60 billion in savings at the State Department, on top of the estimated $65 billion in DOJ savings. And moments ago, Speaker Johnson wrapped up a meeting with Elon Musk as a budget deal is now hanging in the balance.